whoever's right about the numbers, whoever's right, whether it's 28, 14, 45, I don't really care. I just want to get to 3. I want to see how both these teams perform on border. We have to get through Skyscraper first. It'll be Furia starting on the defense, w7m starting on the attack. And I imagine those attacks will gain a lot of scrutiny from us, Ollie, in this first half.
Well, they're going to, aren't they? But they have one of the higher percentage attacking win rates on this map inside of SAL. And maybe one of the highest in the world. I mean, 40-odd% on Skyscraper. It's up there, isn't it? And it isn't as if it's a map that they haven't played too often, or they've just had, you know, a really easy 7-0 or something like that. I mean, if you had 42% in NA, you'd probably think, they've probably just got a couple of 7-0s on there, wouldn't you? But it's not been the case. We don't have that here in SAL. It's very different. It's a lot more closely fought. Into the action then. Thanks for bearing with us. We just had to remake the lobby before getting into things, hence us having a little delay before getting into the game, but we are underway with our grand final here for the SAL Stage 2. w7m Furia on Skyscraper, with w7m starting on that attack. A Clash and a Cade is what they have chosen to remove. Interestingly, leaving things like an Azami in the mix. And similarly, on the side of Furia with the shield ban of the Monty, this time the Nomad has gone as well, maybe speaking to some of the flexibility that Furia want to be able to play with here.
Well, and the Clash ban from w7m speaks to Furia specifically. If you've been watching Furia Skyscraper a decent bit, you'll have noticed that one player in particular liked to play Clash, and it was Herds on Opposite Exhibition. I believe it was Herds. Basically planting that shield outside of the minibar rotate, just constantly swinging outside, basically creating a very difficult position for teams to push through. And FaZe banned it first against Furia yesterday, I imagine for a similar reason. I would not want to play against anybody on Furia, let alone Herds, KZ, or any of the big fraggers with literally just a movable, bulletproof shield in front of their face that they can pre-fire it from you behind. There's also a pretty classic setup from Furia. They like to contest Office and Exhibition early. Very fluid setup, I would say. Just some traps and some reinforcements over here. But Herd's already kind of thinking about giving it up early. KZ doing the same as well. I think this is the right call, Ollie. You've seen Furia overcommit sometimes, and, well, speaking of overcommit, wow. I actually didn't think he'd get that kill. I thought Palu might know about that, but Herd's just sprays through the wall, takes one down, tries to take a bite out of another one. Don't think we'll be able to land that fight as Volps takes some more damage around the map. Nice trade by Dodez, but Ace for an Ella, I'd make that deal.
Yeah, Hertz is kind of giving himself away a little bit there. He's done a lot of the hard work, though. Half of the round burnt. Ace is gone. Those walls have been opened in toward office side, but still got players like KZ kicking around. That second logic bomb and the three ping, sorry, the Z ping there at the feet is going to give the indication away here that the w7m know exactly where this player is, but really what are they able to do about it? At this point in the round, still contesting office? Furia happy to stay here for the majority of the round. Volps has been downed. It looked like over near toward Black Stairs and finished off by the Toxic Babe canister from Nade. The w7m, they're not even able to get their foot in the building right now.
Ooh. Oh, that's a huge spot by Dodez. If you're paying attention earlier, that concussion, I don't think detonated in the proximity of KZ. So that was, I think, almost entirely a face check by the Zofia. Good mechanics being able to win that fight, taking that heads-up engagement and gaining some control on the opposite side, but things aren't going all that great. As you mentioned, Volps getting downed and finished off earlier, I believe from a bear mat all the way over by Black Stairs. Not entirely sure. Felipok spots one. Crossing, though. He's got to be careful with that kind of engagement. Dots gets the initial spot, fires the initial shots, but backs up as it might come down to Lobin, pushing up main stairs off the back of a flashbang. Moves through the barbed wire as Dots moves in from above with the pinch. Excellent flick on a JV92. w7m finally gets some solid control of the site, but with only 10 seconds remaining. How well can these Furia defenders hold on? Nade playing close. Felipok's playing long. It'll have to come down to the second. There's one. There's two! Want to make it three? Or do you just want to stay stoic and win it off time? Furia already shooting off fireworks in the first round as Felipok gets a 1v3 to start.
Coming a lot closer than it really should have done there. That round really hung in the balance for a large portion of the time. Furia did a really good job of extending into office and holding ground over there. But I don't know, did they stay too long? Did they just get a little bit too antsy? Maybe peeking a couple of things that they didn't need to. Because there was a big window of opportunity there for w7m. And it was only because Dots was literally 1 HP after previous and earlier engagements in the round that it became a big problem. Because Felipox then doesn't need to land any shots. He's using the 9mm on Frost. It's a real dumpy fire rate. You're not able to really chain and spray transfer onto multiple opponents. It can be quite rubbish at times, to be fair. But he's made it work. Low HP players, and Dots the one with the kit. The time, well, it was running out already. W7M, they were looking to move in, they were looking to try and get that plant down, and if they'd have just bought themselves 10, 15 extra seconds at the start of that round, you can see how it works out for them. So not a terrible start on the face of it, really, for W7M, and I think that Furia really being put under pressure early on to come away with a clutch to pick up round 1.
Attackers are moving out to locate a bomb and defuse it.
At least an exciting start. We can all go around that. Hopefully an omen for the kind of game that we will have. Furia sticking with a very similar lineup to what we had last round. I think at least 3 of the 5 operators that we saw previously. Fenrir, Malusi, and Frost being brought back into the lineup. Loban also not going for the same operator, but going for the similar role. Looking to lurk down below. Potentially find a way up main stairs, or house stairs, excuse me. Could be an option if he so wanted. I think it's also pertinent. Herds bringing in the Warden, as we have Dots bringing the Blitz as well, trying to find some minimal counterplay. Just peek through any of these blinds. It seems to be a very quick shout by Dots, who hops in, takes the fight with a KZ behind the bomb chassis. Loban moving up from behind, as Furia taking shots from all over the place. Loban just gets the finisher on one, but W7M have taken complete control of the site. Herds left alone for the moment, might have to back out, communicate with Felipox, isolates that 1v1, Felipox with another, not another Furia recovery, as it's a shield 1v1. No C4 for Felipox. This will have to be off gunplay. Smoke goes in, there's the spot, the blind goes in next. Oh, with a melee, well timed, as he does survive very briefly, but the next melee is much more lethal. 2 1vx's to start, but going to different teams. W7M tied the game, and Dots, ever the reliable shield player.
And that gives us a sneak peek into what we are to expect today here between these 2 titans of SAL. What a brilliant attack from W7M. Really straightforward, and something that you often see teams attempt, but just the timing of it was beautiful. Very easily able to get the Blitz in through to office and immediately made good on it. Flash, pistol out, done, on to the next one. At the same time, you've got Loban on a brilliant flank with the Nook coming up those house stairs. And it didn't really matter that he only got the kill onto the downed player, because he was just there for those rotations. If it held on to Dragon a little bit longer, he'd have got the player that was rotating back to site. I believe it was Herds at that point. Multiple options there. But again, coming down to the wire. You can bust through the front line of Furia, but you've still got that solid back line to go up against. It's very often Felipox in that hot seat. Not an easy opponent to go toe-to-toe with when everything's on the line. W7M have picked up an attacking round, and an attacking round on Office Exhibition nonetheless. Now Furia are going to stick to a rotation and take us down into barbecue. Again, another chance for them to really flex their attacking prowess on this map and show us what they've got. I think the only thing that I can complain about from that previous round, Links, is that we didn't really see much of the Aurora.
No! Feels like an operator we saw so much of and to so much success when she first came out, but since then, rather see her and not really use that well or used at all, or, well, like I said, I guess sometimes you throw the doors and it's like, okay, did that help you or did that help the defense more than anything? Opening pick goes away W7M. First time that's happened despite the previous round's conversion. It's on to Herds nonetheless. Furia again contesting Office Exhibition quite heavily. And that's a bit worrisome for reasons I will mention after we have, or once we have a little bit of a pause. I do like the introduction of the Azami by Nade, one of the strongest operators in the game, but particularly on this map, at holding either Shrine or Drum, whichever you want to do. In this case, Nade choosing the latter. This is going to create a massive foothold for Furia to remain on this defense. But Ali, as I was going to mention, Furia, the last time I remember them really holding Office Exhibition, one of those occasions was against ENX last stage, and, well, it went extremely poorly, and I really hope Furia calm down a little bit and don't get too overconfident, because extending that far has cost them before.
I think the response to the extension is the Azami, isn't it? And it's that they're going to be trying to cover themselves on that way back. Ooh, a couple of points of damage put into Felipox there just as that barricade gets opened. He's forced to reposition himself inside a geisha or just on the edge on that double door. Time, again, could be a factor, this one, for W7M as we're approaching that minute mark. They've got some good control now. And they're certainly doing a good job of forcing these players back. Felipox could look to try and walk up here, but Volps is too quick. Takes KZ down. Felipox has got a choice. Is he going to stay up here and get something out of it, or is he just going to retreat and try and hold on with the rest of the team? Because this top floor, well, the hold is no longer there.
The hold has evaporated or gone up in flames. And so with 3 players holding down below, this is not exactly the easiest site just to hold with everybody remaining actually on the site itself. You're going to have to back up to places like delivery, places like just restaurant at large. Holding actually inside of the site with all that vertical, with how constricting the setup can be, it's difficult. Lobin, I don't know if that's a vertical angle he made or one made by the defense, but finds JV92 sheltered inside a bathroom. There's one. Quick find by Nade as Dots rushing into the late round. Fortunately loses his life, but so much damage has been done. It's W7M on cleanup duty. 2 rounds in a row. A win on a primary site, a win on a secondary. Ollie, if the attacks are what's important on Skyscraper, W7M got the message.
Big Palu round as well. 3K for Palu, not a player that you want heating up if you're Furia. I think the Blitz has to go in this round of bans, doesn't it, Lynx? It's been devastating so far.
There it is.
There it is. The Blitz and the Warden both removed. I mean, you just can't argue it. Dots has played Blitz in 2 rounds, and they're the 2 rounds so far that W7M have won, and it is pretty much single-handedly off the back of that Blitz. You want to figure out how to play Blitz or how to get a little bit better at it, you just need to go through the VOD and watch Dots' movement and watch how the team supports him in doing what he wants to do. No Blitz this time. They're going to have to find other answers. And I'm sure W7M have those tucked up their sleeve. But already you look at this scoreline, Links, and you think, 2 rounds on Skyscraper. Still quite a couple to go. Not looking too bad at the moment for W7M. Furia, I think there's some players on that side that haven't really heated up just yet. Does JV92 know we're playing the grand final? He's 0-3.
Hey, there's always time to heat back up. Highest rated player for Furia. They can't always be legendary performances. JV92 always seems to find a way to make that so, but we'll give him a little bit longer. Same with KZ. Ironic thing about that Blitz ban is that's actually... on attack, that's it. Well, sorry, Fuse aside. On attack, that's his least played shield. He now gets, with the Monty and the Blitz ban, he now gets Blackbeard, his most played shield. Not by a wide margin, as really he just plays the shield, doesn't really matter which one. But just ironic that now Dots is punished by playing his favorite shield operator. And arguably the more interesting thing is the Warden ban from W7M, because whether they bring it or not, Furia are going to have to be worried if a Ying is brought, or whether it even might be brought. You won't know until, well, you know, or you find the rest of the lineup. So Furia might be a little more nervous knowing that they don't really have any great tools to deal with those Candelas with that Warden off the board. Furia, I think, running things back entirely. Same operator lineup from the first T-Karaoke defense. And Herd's playing the exact same position. I have to say, Ali, I'm surprised the Azami is not making another appearance.
I think the Azami for this site is not crucial, but it certainly makes your life a lot easier, doesn't it?
Especially if you're holding over here.
Absolutely. Look at Herds and you think, oh, I know you've got a couple of Grismot mines, but really? You were quite easily picked off last time. Sure, there was an opening kill that Furia were able to get. I guess it depends on how well these concussion mines go in. We can see that Dodez is putting those in now, and he knows that there's a player still kicking around in there. I'm not sure if he's aware of the player in exhibition as well. He's certainly going to need a little bit of help from his team if he's going to be trying to take both of these engagements on. Palu, he gets lowered there as he was just poking his head over in toward Geisha. And if we thought round 1 was slow for progress of W7M, round 4 is even slower right now.
I think important thing to note, W7M were not committing to a clear early on. I think Dota's just gaining information. They were considering pushing Geisha, but now he rotates over. and is thinking about making that play, but he's revealed his position twice, once by shooting the default, once by walking into the F-Naught. Oh no, this round is turning into a disaster. 3 kills fly the way of Furia, make that 4. And Palu, who is the first one to take any bit of damage on w7m, is the last man standing on 1 HP. w7m think they might have a good idea on that side, but kind of ironic, given how long they spent clearing, taking their time. Walk right into an F-Naught on house stairs, mistimes the whole push. Feels like maybe w7m thought they had a lot more than they did. Nice shot by Herds to end things. T Karaoke, the only site working for them, but at least it ties the game.
Do you get the impression that we need a little bit more drone information from w7m? Because they've got very clear ideas of how they want to play, but like you say, that flank would have been generational had it not been for an F-Nat. But as soon as the F-Nat's there, bang, the game is up. And all of a sudden, the players that are trying to push in on the 3-2-1 alongside that player pushing up house stairs aren't given the same amount of space because your house stairs player is in a cloud of purple and black smoke. JV picking himself up a couple of kills there in round number 4 as well. And Furia tie the game up. Now, they're not going to be able to go back to team karaoke in regulation. But fortunately for w7m, they were successful here inside of Office Exhibition. Although it was off the back of a blitz pushing in through that breach. And with that being banned, they are going to have to come up with a different strategy to try and deal with this right now. Again, rocking with that striker. Although it does look like it could get changed out. There it is. We were wondering when and if we may see a Ying. And the threat of it is, well, what can you really do about it when the Warden's ban links? Not too much. You're not going to be bringing a Jaeger and a Wamai and all those sort of things on a Skyscraper. You need a lot of other things. You need those trap operators. You need the Malusis. You need the... Well, I mean, in this case, Furia feel like they need the bear mats, but there's no way you're going to be playing a load of catch utility here on this map, so it could be a brilliant time for Dodes to bring out that Ying.
Comboed with the Grim and the Dokkaebi too. This is really quite an annoying lineup being brought by w7m, and one that could just be a massive threat to Furia. Imagine Dokkaebi call goes off, bees hit the ground, and then the Candela's going for the blind. Hate to be playing against that. Unfortunately, that seems to be the situation Furia might very well find themselves in. Introduction of the Azami on their replay of Office and Exhibition. I think, again, by and large, Furia have kept a very, very consistent core of Malusi, Frost, and oddly enough, Ella. Or Mute in this case, but very consistent with these trap operators and the same exact trap operators. Gershmot's likely for the shields. Bearmat's likely to punish any late round information or lack of late round information when they hop in. First Candela goes out. Likely just to attempt any rotations or bait any rotations from Furia. Give them some cause for concern. Rainbow Six version of firing a shot across the bow.
Speed is something that w7m do seem to have been struggling with a little bit so far. That Logic Bomb phone call is just echoing out and about to run out. Players find little areas of solace inside of mute jammers, or the time just does the work for it, but there's nothing off the back of it, aside from a little bit of map control. Loban is in below. Got that skeleton key, and it looks as though he could be ready to go here. Philippox just getting caught out on the edge of the bees there, but he does have a mute jammer at his feet. These bees trying to be comboed with that skeleton key below. As Loban is again attempting to rip open some of that floor, but it just doesn't look like he's got current enough information to get that job done. Another Logic Bomb goes out. It's both used now, and still yet to find an opening pick here for w7m, but it's going to go on the reverse. KZ takes matters into his own hands, dispatches Loban downstairs. No opportunity for a trade, but look at this. Pushing into the site, immediately dealt with. Just a slew of utility at Dodes's feet, and the Candelas fall flat.
This attack never really made it beyond conception, unfortunately. You see the idea, try to use the Candelas to, like, force rotations, get Furia nervous, and then they just don't move. And then all of a sudden, you've spent 3 Candelas, 3 Bs, a bunch of skeleton key shots, and both Logic Bombs, just to go down 3v5. 2v5, 1v5. How about a flawless for Furia, as w7m's attack never gets off the ground?
I think it's like you say, Lynx, you could see what they were trying to make work there, But what you've got to account for is that Furia are not an inexperienced team. They know exactly what to do at any given moment to give them the best possibility of surviving. And if Philippox is sat there in a mute jammer with bees in front of him, guess what? He ain't moving because he doesn't need to. W7M need a lot more information if they're going to try and pull off rounds like that against Furia. And Furia are going to take a very narrow lead as we move into round number 6 now, what will be the last round of regulation defenses for Furia. And likewise, the last round of regulation attacks for W7M. They've given a good account of themselves. And the couple of rounds that they've walked away with, they've looked very convincing. Even round 1, coming down to a 1 versus 1, we could be sat here saying it's 3-2 to W7M. However, that last attacking round just kind of knocks a little bit of the confidence out of things for me. Down to kitchen and barbecue we go. I don't want to say it, Lynx, but after the blitz ban, W7M look like they've got the same menace.
No, they've really fallen off a little bit. And if you want to go back to that first round, a lot of those kills came really, really late in the game. And by taking a lot of time, as we've talked about, as without that blitz, time has been an ever-present issue. Because of that time, they lose round 1, set Philippox in a position to clutch the 1v3, and then since that blitz ban, as you said, we got opening picks coming at 1:07 seconds, 57 seconds in the case of the last round. The blitz was the thing that got them past that speed, except here, well, maybe things have just shifted a little bit. Ironic I say that, Volp's holding a static angle outside of a window. Seems JV92 might have just got caught rotating. So the Malusi's consistent. The only change we have is the Goyo shifts hands, and Herds decides to bring in the Solus with that Specchio scanner. Good for playing retakes, good for denying plants. Also an operator you know is going to be involved in the roam. We'll see how well Herds can rat on this side of the map, because even in the 4v5, Ollie, if they take a long time, as we've talked about so far, and Herds doesn't get red on the opposite side of the map, could be a really big flank coming W7M's way.
I do like the addition of the Brava Lobin, bringing those Kludge drones here in round 6. Looks like me trying to shoot a drone, KZ. Come on, pull yourself together. Yeah, I like the addition of the Kludge drone. I think that that's maybe the little bit of information that W7M were lacking. Although, for saying that they got the opening pick, okay, it was just an outside to in angle being held. They haven't been able to really take advantage of that and manipulate the map control too much. Only now are we getting players hopping on him, but Volps, look at him go. Picking up 2, picking up 3 through the wall. Bangs nade out of Geisha and leaves Furia in a 2 versus 5 right now. You spoke about Herds on that Solus. Maybe a big late flank. It's going to have to be massive, Lynx.
It'd have to be unbelievable to get this one. 50 seconds remaining. Time to drone. Time to breach. Information on one of the remaining players. Furia should be dead 50 ways to Sunday at this point, and Volp's looking for the ace at the moment. Hertz is a 1v5 in store. Now be the time to show it, and I just don't think it's going to happen. Flawless round to match Furia's own. W7M tie the half, 3-3. And this is sort of the bane of Skyscraper attacks. We're thinking, oh, we're losing a little bit of confidence in W7M. Now they pull out a flawless, tie it 3-3, and I'm looking at round 1 thinking it could have been a 4-2.
I'm looking at round 1 thinking it really should have been a 4-2. What a last round there from W7M. I mean, Volps was just taking matters into his own hands. He's like, yeah, you know what? DMR time. Give me that DMR. I'm just going to start popping. Similar pathing to what we've seen him do previously as well. I think he kind of pathed the same way as we saw them attacking that barbecue site last time, with getting in and around to the top of those black stairs and on that black balcony. But this time just having a lot more success with it, and especially catching JV92 out nice and early through the window into the bottom of those black stairs as well, into that little reception area. Big round for W7M, an even split on Skyscraper. Can't ask for much more than that, especially when you're going up against one of the best teams in the world. The pressure, in my opinion, now is seriously on Furia, because as we mentioned at the top of the show, coming into Skyscraper, it is a map that W7M are good on. Attacking win rate, 42.9%. Furia on the flip side, they got a 29.4, so 30%. We'll be generous. We'll give them that 0.6, shall we? Got a 30% win rate over on this map. That doesn't just mean that it's all played out on paper and we can just shake hands and go home and crown someone a champion of stage 2. But it is going to give us somewhat of an indication as to what to expect over the next 7 rounds. The Malusi and a Clash removed by Furia, and the Bees and the Dokkaebi taken away by w7m. Furia, famously not a big shield team. They'll play the Blackbeard, and they will play a Blitz and a Monty occasionally, but it's not something that we really look to and go, yeah, that these guys bring the shield religiously. But instead, targeting that Dokkaebi and that Grim should give at least the side players and the roamers in some instances a little bit more security.
Whenever I see Furia bring the shield, it kind of has the vibe of like they're filling a contractual obligation. It's like, we get the way the game is. We'll bring it a little bit. We can't not play it. We can't not be at least competent at it. And not to say they're bad at it, by no means, but you're absolutely right. Not really a shield team. Not really a team where I see them bring the shield. I'm like, oh, we're about to see some. Whereas honestly, for w7m, I really enjoy watching Dots play the shield, and if he doesn't do it, I sometimes feel a little sad because he individually and the team is really quite good at working it. Right now, first engagement. Ooh, that's a really well-coordinated double swing by w7m. Blackstairs player catching the attention. Ooh, the other going in for the finisher, and then KZ immediately springs into action and sends for the smoke. I mean, the sends is kind of the backbone of this Blackstairs take, but you take out the guy on Blackstairs in the process. I'm really impressed by KZ, his pace there, and also impressed by Furia's pace now taking control of the staircase, and somehow Furia come away with the victors in the early round.
Furia have set themselves up really nicely here. Nade at the bottom of Blackstairs, JV92 below on the Deimos, ready to rip open the floor with the Vendetta. He's only got one target in his sights, though. He's only got Dodes on that Bandit. Ideally needs to get the player that's inside of Karaoke. Trying to parkour a nade around the corner, but JV's been taken out. Lobin, the presence of mind to go below. Now we see the smokes come in. This is going to be messy.
Oh, messy indeed. There are blood all over the walls of Karaoke as w7m lure Furia in, shut the doors, and when the lights go out, it is nothing but mayhem. How about those aggressive swings, Ollie? Every time Furia think they've got a bit of control, we've got somebody swinging Blackstairs, somebody swinging House Stairs. I love it from w7m.
And you think with Furia getting the opening pick there, they've got that extra man to sort of cover the other angle, as it were. Cover that sort of, well, if we have the extra guy, we can watch this, and it's a really nice safety net to have. Fleapox was primed and ready on that geisha window to start throwing utility in and get himself in if required. But I think, honestly, where that round starts to fall apart is JV92 not having sufficient information on the drone, because he only had the Bandit to track. If he's got more targets for the death mark, he's able to rip open the floor with a bit more surety. It's not like a book where you've got the skeleton key and a ton of ammo and you're going to blast open the floor and it's going to give you a nice, healthy line of sight. That Vendetta, it's much smaller. You've got to be much more precise with it. And you really need to know where those players are. Sure, it's going to rip the floor open, but not to the same effect. You're not going for lines of sight. You're more just going for kill holes. And I think that's where it starts to fall a little bit there, because Furia, had they had a book in that situation, yeah, maybe they start able to rip a few of these players out of those spots and it frees up those players on the top floor. That not being the case, w7m regain a lead here.
Bring out another dastardly lineup. We've got Cade Tubarao and Azami and Mira. We got like the best stops of two different styles of defense. You got the Kibas and the Mira to create angles and little shields you can swing around, contest control. Oh, what the hell? KZ deciding just to get crazy with it. Runs in, gets the guy behind minibar, but again, w7m, once Furia get in, start letting those guns go wild. JV stuck outside. Ooh, misses an opportunity for a kill. Another player looking to double up on this swing. Palu, very quick one to finish off with that TCSG. Furia almost had me believing with the pace that they set, but w7m show that they'll need a little bit more to deal with these defenses. Dodes and Dots. Just sitting top house for the moment. Know that this round is basically won if they just hold their positions. Herds is out of yings. He's out of candelas. He's out of smoke. He's got no health. It's not happening. Just don't swing. Just do not swing. I repeat, do not swing. I don't care if this man crosses. Got a 2v1. Just finish this out nicely. Herds will attempt the plant. Dota starts moving in, will likely force Herds off. No, he actually gets it off successfully. Got a little bit of time to recover, but Dodez, waiting for him to hop up, plays it perfectly. 5-3 now for w7m, and Skyscraper, round by round, is looking more and more like w7m's to win.
It's looking more and more convincing, isn't it? I think we'll probably see a tactical timeout off the back of that round. Something that Fresh spoke about on the desk, and he's right, by the way, is that Furia have done a really good job in improving where they've lacked discipline previously, particularly in best of ones. The discipline has been a little bit of a problem, but because they're such a good team, they get away with it inside of a best of 3. Those, maybe that last round, definitely, and maybe the previous round, little lack of discipline, just sort of sending it, trying to go for that full send, and it works to a point because they get themselves in a 1 versus 2. Anyone on the side of Furia is capable of winning a 1 versus 2, by the way. That's not the problem. It's that they had a lot more tools at their disposal. They had a lot more potential to whittle that round down. It didn't need to be such a bold and aggressive round because w7m are ready for that kind of play style. They're hyped up for this game. There's a bit more on the line than SI points and who's the champion and all that. There's a lot of pride between these two teams, and there's a good level of banter. And I don't think that w7m are going to get caught out by cheap tricks and Furia going quickly. It doesn't surprise me to see the timeout come in there at the end of round number 8. And I anticipate that the topic was a little bit of discipline. Come on, guys. We don't need to rush this. We just need to go through the motions because they've got it if they do. But when they just throw bodies at problems, w7m are hitting today. Palu's 9 and 5.
I mean, nobody on w7m is getting a performance. I'm like, oh, we got to see more out of this guy. Like, everyone's either doing the work, doing what they need to, or doing more than what they need to. And I appreciate that. I appreciate that greatly. We've got Herds and KZ showing up, but as we talked about, JV92 is still feeling a little lackluster. Though, honestly, what I would put down to Furia is not really an individual failing. I think for these attacks in particular, as you said, I think Furia just getting a little ahead of themselves, and that's a team thing, not a player thing. So hopefully we'll see a little bit more, I suppose, a little more calm, a little more rationality in handling these attacks, as w7m have proven that they are not going to fall for Furia's old tricks, and that they might be the little brother. And even in those younger years, they've had time to watch and learn, and are at least on Skyscraper, ready for what Furia can do. Bring in the shield now. Furia bringing in the Blitz, and I unfortunately think a little bit of a glitch with Herds, but no, also bringing in the Blackbeard, so double shield from Furia. We don't consider them a shield team, but I think they certainly are now after this round.
I think Herds is still giving himself the option to change later on if he doesn't like the Blackbeard.
He's reserved it.
Yeah, if it doesn't stick, he's going to jump on the Dokkaebi or something like... Oh, no, Dokkaebi's banned, of course. He's going to jump on something else. Maybe desperate times, desperate measures. We often speak of panic Monties, panic shields. Furia not wanting to put w7m onto that map point, but again, looking to go quickly here. JV92 straight on upstairs. Parley with that opening pick, this time traded. Certainly no lack of pace here, though, Lynx.
No, there is not. JV92's found the pathing to top black stairs. Dota's also trying to fight. Will land some very key shots. And it might be brief, but he still has control of this top floor. He's got the better angles. He's got the better positions. And he might have just slipped through. Take down one, make that the second! Philippox and KZ make it easy for him. How about 6-3 at this point? Because Herds better go back to spawn and pick another operator, because I don't think Blackbeard is going to be the solution he's looking for. Chipped a little bit lower with a shot through the wall. Dodez, 4 kills. Single-handedly controls top floor. Single-handedly gives w7m map point.
That's one of the best rotations we're going to see today. Somehow getting himself into karaoke. No, he's playing the Azami. He knows where his keepers are. And then both players for Furia are just lined up for him. He didn't even have to move the crosshairs. Just hold mouse 1. Hold mouse 1, pull down a little bit. 6-3 right now for w7m on Skyscraper. There was a question mark on this map. We know Furia are a great team. We know they've had a wonderful stage. W7M, that little team that can, often referred to as the little brother to this Furia side. And so far, they have got Big Brother in a headlock. It doesn't matter how big you are. If you're in a headlock, there's only one way you're going. 6-3. Furia yet to show us anything on these attacks. W7M, they can just move through the motions again. Back upstairs into tea and karaoke. Looks like it's going to be a fairly similar lineup, but with a few differences this time. It's going to be on the IQ, and this time Philippoc's on the Monty. So Furia, it does seem like they're sort of scrambling for answers and looking to rely on these shields to give themselves maybe a little bit more room to work with inside the map. I still would like to see the book if they're going to be going for that sort of vert play. It's going to be KZ this time over on Deimos. Let's have a look at this trip. Ooh, okay. So we shoot out the little cabinet. Get the trip mine all the way through. A little bit of trip action here on Sword's window as well. Little crystal maze that Dodez is setting up right now.
Ooh. That's the longest trip you've ever seen. Ooh, a little impact. Ooh. Well, AK-12 behind that Selma breach. JV-92 ready for it. Introduction of the shield, as you mentioned, but with the Monty, it should be a little bit slower movement through the map, which honestly, I think Furia really need to do. It came close to it working last time, but also, was he supposed to be able to walk through that?
I mean, he isn't able to walk through it, so if he was, it's a bit of a problem.
That's what I'm worried about. By the way, we got 4 people on this side of the map. We got 4 people over by Office Exhibition, if my eyes don't deceive me. Now Furia will try to deal with them one by one. Denari goes down. So that's Furia's inroad in terms of the man count, but walking through these trips, losing a lot of damage. Oh, Philippox! Oh, that's the second time! We've seen a smoke canister covered by a smoke grenade! It stops Furia's entry. Loban backs it up with 50 bullets of pain. KZ, JV-92 both faltering where nobody else has found success. It is stumble after stumble from Furia. And if you thought Skyscraper was gonna go their way, W7M are reminding you that this was their pick, and this is where they're comfortable. Up 1-0 against Big Brother, W7M looking confident. Crowning a new champion of the SAL after this map, I would be thoroughly shocked. I mean, based on just the narrative, Ollie, you know, based on kind of how things were feeling, it felt like Furia were going to be the 2-time, right? You know, they FaZe win it 2 years in a row, 4 stages, back to back to back to back. Furia snatch it from them in the final against FaZe last stage. Now Furia are in the final again. They beat FaZe to get here, then send FaZe down to meet W7M in the lower bracket. Surely this is their time to kind of take that new spot against FaZe. You know, basically saying we're also the domestic champions alongside being these international titans, right? But if W7M come and win it now, I don't know what the hell to think.
Who will? Who will know what to think? I mean, we should know what to think, because that's kind of what we're here for.
Well, I can tell you this. I can tell you 5 players on W7M and Norris are going to know exactly what to think, which is, hey, we finally got one over on them. 0-6 so far in the last series. Now we finally got the one that, well, at least for the SAL cloud, the one that matters.
10 seconds to insertion.
Hibana and a Ying removed by W7M. I would have thought they would have gone for the old double hard breach ban, but
Well, Hibana ace action.
yeah, Furia are quite a lean team when it comes to hard breaches, and they very often are happy to operate with just tin openers, which it can be a little bit of a problem on club just through the nature of it, because we know how difficult a map it can be. And it will often call for things like a mirror to be played, particularly when you get onto the top floor sites. Basement, less so. You're more worried about the hatches and that church wall. And with the setup that we've got at the moment from W7M, it speaks of a little bit of a roam. But the drones are flying downstairs. Philippox maybe looking to see if there's any bits of information or bits of utility that there are to be dealt with. And not seeing a mirror window up there is going to give them a little bit of confidence. KZ opens things up with a kill onto Dodez, trying to be that pain, that thorn in the side up on Garage Catwalk and a support system for Loban. Of course, playing on that Scopos with the ability to run down into sight. Palu going to go looking for something here, but does need to be cautious. Doesn't want to come head-to-head with the Blackbeard round the corner, and will just back off. Despite that opening pick, it has been traded. And now w7m seem to have stabilized a little bit, and there's maybe a chance that Loban at least can hold and play up here for a bit longer.
Absolutely a chance he can hold up there, and I think arguably the bigger threat is that he might just be able to move around to the bedroom side and stay up there entirely until Furia have long since forgotten about him. Another reason you always bring that Azami, by the way. Palu is... turns out Palu is actually dead to rights anyway. I was going to say, you're dead to rights, and then all of a sudden you dodge those bees because you place a Kiba on the window, but now that Palu's gone down, remember, they know Loban's up top. They remember he's up there. So this is a 4v2 on the site right now. Furia versus w7m, and you can see all of them reacting, and Loban trying to get back as quickly as he can. Retakes the hatch. Big kill on a JV92. The rest stuck in blue. Easy pickings for these remaining two defenders, as suddenly that increase in pace meets a great reaction by w7m. One more smoke canister remaining as w7m take the time to get nade back up. Where Loban goes down, Volps has got to be careful. Keep your gun up. There's one, but the shots go wide. They've got him pinned down as well behind box 2. Herds ready for it. Beautiful reaction by Furia. Playing the numbers game, realize the disadvantage on site, and immediately exploit it.
What a weird round. When do you ever see a whole round or a whole team pushing just down blue and oil pit? I was really surprised to see Loban drop there. I really thought he was going to get that kill from the hatch and then move into the stock hatch. He would have had a field day if he'd have done that. Now, there may have been a drone there, so it might not have been as easy as all of that. But Furia, with a very concise and very direct push into the site, not really wanting to get fully dragged into the roam that w7m had going on. Instead, just happy to spot the gap and take it. It's the first round we've seen seen Furia get on the attack today. Not a bad way of starting off their Clubhouse campaign here, especially given that they are a map down inside of the series. w7m moving up onto this top floor now. Gym and bedroom. This is where they want to be in. As predicted, we are going to start to see that mirror come in and just opening up these walls a little bit more difficult, especially if it's the thermite that has been chosen, which it is going to be locked in now for nade. You have a couple of tin openers as well, so they should be able to work around it somewhat. w7m maybe flying a little bit too close to the sun in round 1 with that roam. I doubt we see it that heavy again when we come round to seeing that site probably in round number 4.
Honestly, I think you definitely have a fair argument. I think the bigger thing, it just comes down to Palu getting picked off either the moment he gets back to Gen or if he swings out of Gen and gets caught. I mean, Furia were, like, they broke down the Kiba and sprinted in to try to get that trade, which is the second time we've seen Furia do that so far and really makes them feel that much more threatening. But I think if Palu is just like, if that timing is a second more in his favor, I think even with that roam, w7m could maybe come away with it. But again, when you have a team that will literally climb over themselves to get a trade, it's always going to be difficult running roams like that if you even have the tiniest bit of a gap for Fury to flood in. Standard gym bedroom roam, by the way. Had some players over in CC Cash, falling back to Khan. Pretty reserved, all things considered. Only one guy in CCTV. No red stairs hold, as we see teams sometimes play. It's just Dodez with the 2... Never mind. Of course, this guy's over on red stairs with no shield.
One deployed successful.
I think, apologize, I was muted for a brief second there. We've got Herds walking up these main stairs now. I do like how they've cut open and opened up into construction, trying to split that roam in half. Herds might see a gap here, Lynx.
Ooh, nope, he does not. He'll need to get some corrective lenses, unfortunately. Gap is not nearly as wide as he thought. Not existent. Dot swinging around the corner. Look an awful lot like those Skyscraper defenses. Furia think they have something. They make their way in, and w7m slam the door in their face and kick them outside of bounds. 8 with 2, though. We'll give him credit for those. And Palu's down as well. 37 seconds, so no time to use that drone in his pocket. I've seen crazier things happen. Especially since both are in Logi. Could line this up. That kill is going to be crucial. Nice crosshair placement and dots on 1 HP. We're looking at his face. Look how concentrated he is. Locked in as he sees the gun around the corner. Nade looking for 5-0 right now. He's got the line on him, but running out of time. Gotta hunt him down. Dots, be careful. Dots, don't overextend. You've only got 1 HP. Keep it close. Keep it consistent. No, he turns his back. Tries to sprint down main. There were so many plays he could have made, and I think he might have just picked the only wrong move to make.
I don't think he could have done anything worse in that situation. I think that was the worst thing that you could have done. Aside from just going out there, standing in bedroom and taking your hand off the keyboard, that is probably the worst decision that you could have made. I don't know why he goes to run down main stairs there. Thinking the plant's going on, maybe. Thinking he can start to deny it from low. Just trying to stay alive. Feels like he psyched himself out there. You've got to play like you're on 1 HP the whole time. 1 headshot and you're gone, regardless of your HP number. What a big clutch for Furia. To keep the lead here on Clubhouse. And to extend it a little bit more. I don't want to say that that was a must-win round. We are far too early for all that. But you can't be allowing Nade to get a 1 versus 4. That's dreadful.
10 seconds left.
Can't be letting rounds like that slip through, especially if you want to beat Furia on their pick, take the crown away from them. Can't be letting them get rounds like that. And I mean, even when you've got like the kill before that, Furia were bred in a lab to have good crosshair placement. Like, they're just, if you're giving them that, they're not losing it on a good day. And even though they lost that previous map, we can tell that when they were winning those rounds, it still looked like a pretty decent day. Have to see how w7m can fare here, as after that 1v4, the mental for w7m could be hurting a little bit, and losing this retry of basement will likely force a tactical timeout. Very minimal adjustments in their lineup, by the way. I think it's only introduction of the Mute and the Ella. Obviously, Volps. Remembering that Furia ran a shield last time. But Dodez is playing Scopus and Rafters just like he did before, and I was about to say, you gotta get out, my friend. And he will. Makes it back just in time.
The timing on that must have been very precise. That was a horrible position. He's got Cash Wall open, Herd's walking up the stairs, he's got Philippe Bugs knocking at the door of carriage. He's left Volps and Lobin all up here alone. This should be fine, though. Oh, can he find a kill? Oh, almost gets the bag, but surely the backup's there from Hertz. No, it's not! Volps gets away with 1, and Lobin comes for the assist! Volps might die, but with Dodas getting another onto JV92, it's wraps again. 4 versus 2 now, as that roam pays off for w7m, and some fantastic teamwork.
I have to say, the teamwork from w7m has been excellent. Going back to Skyscraper, some of those double swings we were seeing were flawless. Not just flawless in conception, but execution as well. That is no different. First off, Fellowpox checking that corner on the Monty. I think a lot of teams, a lot of good teams even, just moving through the top, might be a little more careless about that. And what do we see there? Just gives it a little extra turn, spots him. And that should be enough, right? That should be enough. And yet Volps is able to get the kill on the guy behind him. But then calling that the Monty's in construction. I feel like, Ollie, we'd expect a double swing from Condor, right? But no, through Logi wall with the shotgun. I mean, these 2 kills from Dodaz are nice, by the way. Great individual play. But really, for me, that round, the teamwork, the communication between Volps and Lobin, even though that's their first victory, this is still a very strong, bright through line between Skyscraper to that round on Clubhouse that w7m are just so good at when these rounds are going their way.
You almost get the impression that Furia could feel the Scopos just slip through the tips of their fingers as they tried to grab him on that catwalk, because the timing was just so tight. Any hesitation, a fraction of a second, and I don't think he's got enough time to make that transition. Now, would it have mattered? I mean, maybe not. He gets back to the site and is able to pick up those last 2 kills. But as you say, the large portion of that round happened between Volps and Loban upstairs. And I was surprised because I made a comment at the time. I said, I doubt that we'll see w7m go for that kind of roam again. Go for it, you know, that sort of heavy and that committed. But they did. They made a much better job of it that time. Finally got themselves a point on the board now, and they only trail by 1 here against Furia. First time we're going to see Cash and CCTV. We had another round of banning as well. The mirror, no surprise there. Furia want this to be as easy as possible to open up these walls, and well, w7m, they almost want it to be as difficult as possible, removing the Hibana and the Thermite, but they will leave open the Ace. So Ace is open, Ace will be played. JV92 loves a little bit of the AK-12, gets those Selmas thrown out nice and early into the round, and then can just go and do whatever he likes. But the interesting thing for me in this round, Lynx, is going to be that clash.
Oh yeah. Always love it when we see the band phase go out and you immediately see one of those operators appear, and it's just like, oh, it's right. You were waiting to bring this clash out. This is something you were excited to do. Little breach trick from JV92, by the way. Use both the Selmas, immediately renders the left half of Platwall soft. I was going to say, I was kind of surprised we didn't see anybody bring the impacts to deal with the Ace, but can't really impact that, so unlucky. But the clash will be very interesting. Likely, I would imagine, to be walking around lounge would be my guess for the moment. Aiding and making sure that Dodez on rafters has some support. It could also just be walking around the 2nd floor. No, there we go. Castle barricades down below. Can pull out the shield, look towards garage. Has a BP for information as well. Really a painful setup to deal with the Kibas up top and the clash down below.
Look at those ADSs that are stacked up on the little half stairs into garage as well, just to give Vulps even more security down there. It's a horrible and thankless task that Dodus is doing right now.
Oh my goodness.
He does have an ADS at his feet, but that's being disabled. The AMP's coming out from the Thatcher, and he's been able to dodge out of the way of the fire and actually burn out the air jab. How does he get away with this? How is he still alive here? Furia are throwing everything at him. He doesn't have a Kiba generated. He's instead just going to have to rely on hitting this shot, but kills are happening elsewhere. Pretty nice trade there. Dots is going to go down on that castle. His job done. Herd's down as well. Well, with the amount of util that Dodez has seen and come under, you'd say that his util had been used pretty thoroughly too. But all of that util hasn't gained any ground right now for Furias. They're still struggling for a foothold here. No presence inside of garage. Sure, they've got the breach and JV can work it, but when you've got a clash, there's very little that you can do about that.
Yeah, very little indeed. Also, not only did that position from Dodez drain all their util, it got Herds killed in the process. Calls Loban over to the pool double window and peeks the Capital from that position. Again, the communication for w7m around these strategies is so excellent. Palu, great information, great swing onto KZ on red stairs. And boy, when Furia are down, they are way down. Whenever w7m win around Ollie, it doesn't even feel close.
So convincing, isn't it? I mean, I know that JV gets a little bit of action there on the breach and can do that, but where was everything else? Not being able to take control of garage? We've seen Furia happy to play a Monty already today. Bring the Monty, bring the Capital, bang, take control of garage. Or don't, and go for construction side and send someone there later. Just open up main wall and treat that as the cutoff. It seemed like quite a confused strategy. Even walking up cash stairs was too much of an ask because of the barbed wire that was placed down at the bottom. These are all fairly straightforward things that should just be getting put on a list and ticked off as that round develops. W7M more than back in this thing now at 2-2 level. But it feels like it's the momentum shift. The only thing that we've seen tonight from Furia that's given a big sort of sign of life is going to be that 4K from Nade. Correction, 1 versus 4. We'll give it its full credit. It wasn't just a 4K.
Thank you.
But we haven't really seen anything else. And for a team that has been relentless in multi-kills, think of how many rounds we've sat here and talked about JV92, KZ, Herds, all multi-kill after multi-kill, round after round. That's the only one that we've seen tonight so far. Philippox had a clutch in round 1 of Skyscraper, and then after that, it took us until round 2 of Clubhouse for their next multi-kill or clutch.
Obviously, it was a great 1v4, but 80% of Nade's kills came in 1 round. We're not exactly talking about, like you said, 1 multi-kill amongst many, or even a decent amount of kills amongst many. JV struggling, KZ struggling, Herds struggling in comparison to where these sides should be. There should be no planet where Nade is the guy 5 and 2. And that's not because Nade's a bad player. Nade's a great player. But Nade should be in the back. Way in the back. He got those 4 kills because he was the last guy alive. It's situations like that that are the problem. Loba taking an aggressive swing. All right, we got to be a little careful here. Let's chill out a little bit. Because that's the Azami going down early and Furia getting a little bit of a way into gym bedroom. After here, once the Selma goes down on that close breach, they've got a clear line of sight into construction. If Furia wanted to, they could hop in soon.
Loban was clearly feeling himself there, wasn't he? 6 and 3, double positive at the moment. I mean, JV nearly suffered at his hands, but he got punished quite rightly. It could just give the window of opportunity here as the concussion goes out. You can see that Nade is desperate to hop on in. He's going to do so, but straight into the line of sight of Palu.
Oh my god. It just doesn't end. It never ends, does it? Furia hop in. They increase the tempo, and then w7m are ready for it. They've already seen this round play out. They know how it's going to go. And the moment Furia hop in, w7m slap them in the face. I swear to God, I've got the playbook now. I know here's how every round from here on out is going to go. Furia opening pick, 3 kills in a row for w7m, close it out, 4 people left alive. You know how many rounds have ended that way? Enough. Enough is the answer to that question. We have round 4, round 5, and then it happened on
round 1.
Round 1. Round 7 was quite similar as well. It was a very quick trade, and then 3 kills fly w7m's way on Skyscraper. Sorry, I should have specified. Round 7 on Skyscraper. Round 8, opening kill Furia, 3 kills for w7m. Round 9, bit more of an even trade. Round 10, opening kill Furia, 3 kills for w7m immediately after. This has been such a bizarre trend this entire game, where either there is an opening kill for Furia, or in a very immediate trade, and then w7m get the next 3 kills in rapid succession. Every single time. Furia keep playing these rounds, thinking that they can just flood, that they can just overwhelm the opposition, that they can beat w7m like they've always beaten them. And what happens? Opening kill, 3 kills in a row, w7m win the round.
3-2 and a chance for w7m to cement the lead at the half. 4-2 split would look very nice indeed. They're a cracking team on defense on Clubhouse, make no mistake. They've got one of the highest defensive win percentages for this map. Coming in at sort of low 70s%. JV92 back doing his thing with that opening pick. That's a couple of quiet rounds for Loban so far. It didn't hurt w7m in round 5. Will it hurt them here in round 6? If we are going to subscribe to your way of thinking or your playbook links, the answer should really be no. But there are only so many times that it can go that way.
That's true. There are only so many times it can go that way. That's the tricky thing about sport. You never know when you hit that number. You never know if there's one more in the tank or if that was the last time it'll happen. And look here. Loban's the first dead. 5v4 Furia. Good position. Objectively good position. Let's just get that out of the way with. But what have they actually accomplished so far? We're still full clearing, with almost a minute 30 left in the round.
Deathmark tracker out.
We're hunting down the Ella. Okay, that's Volps across the map. But what's he gonna do? He can get back safe and sound, no problem. And in fact, he switches positions briefly with Palu, who then gets cut off. That's something different. Because now you've taken...
Hello? Lynx, you know what that is? You know what that is?
What's this guy doing, Freezer?
That's cold.
He's... By the way, he's got... His other Scopos is gone. He's stuck here. Oh, no.
Oh,
They've got no idea. No. Skeleton key opening up. Deimos just around the corner. How long is Dodez going to play this? He gets one. Hatch open, immediately drops back down. Only one kill, Ollie, but that's still a big one.
The difficulty is getting anything out of that. You know, you can get the positioning all you want, but getting the kill and getting away is the best that he could have hoped for right there. Only now Philippox is going to check Freezer. We've still got Volp stood beneath the hatch. Time's dwindling because of how long Furia spent on this full clear, and there are still Vulcan packs. Not going to be easy for Furia, despite the fact they've got an advantage right now.
Now, these Bees will have to do a lot of heavy lifting. Huge find as Volp's pressing his luck a little too much beneath that hatch. Constantly face-checking, constantly swinging. No C4 either. So as this Monty goes down, should be able to get the plant successfully. Dots gets one kill, loses a lot of HP in the process. Philippox now going for the rotate. Another Vulcan spotted, and while it damages Nade a little bit, Philippox will be able to get this diffuser down, move into the post, and they're ready for this retake on the hatch. Dots with the pistol does find one, but Furia stabilized with a much-needed victory in round 6. And even with how not close that round ended up being, you could still see how much energy this game has taken out of Furia.
I feel like that was a really nice way of playing around there for w7m. They didn't win it, obviously. But how unpredictable and how difficult they made that, even with the man advantage that Furia had, I think just goes to show how much of a handful this team can be. Because, yep, when strategy doesn't work, they've got something deeper. They've got that fighting spirit, that ratty play style of just getting it over the line and doing whatever it takes to try and best their opponent. Furia really had to work for that there. I was a bit scared, you know, when Philippox came off the plant, because we were down in red time. It was like, it was ticking 4, 5, 3, and then he gets back on it because the Vulcan canister got popped, but I think it must have been the one that was on the dirt tunnel barricaded door, and it was just out of the radius of him. He'd repositioned maybe out of that zone and got himself a little bit safer because of how short the time was. One lucky shot there, and w7m would have been walking away with a 4-2 half. As it stands, Furia stabilized and have salvaged a 3-3. Still, no clear winner here. It's not like on Skyscraper where we looked at it on the face of it and we said, you know, w7m should have been up. Yes, in this map, maybe they also should be up 4-2, given that they lost a 4 versus 1. But the rounds that Furia have come away with have been good regardless.
Attackers must locate and defuse a bomb.
I think the only concern I have is none have looked quite as good as that round 1, though. Because there, it was still a good round for Furia through and through. But yeah, you still see moments where they don't quite have control on everything. Whereas when Furia are up, it just feels like they have this, like, domineering control on every aspect. Not always complete awareness, but that when they know something is there, they convert that opening. When they don't know something's there, they're just so confident and have such a massive ego that they just slap it down. It's not even an issue. And the rounds that they have won, they did both look good, and they did show up. But round 1 was really the only time where I felt Furia had control of everything, whereas in round 6, it felt that there was still something slipping through the net. Now we'll look to this round and see how w7m will control Furia on these defensive halves, or their attacking halves, excuse me. As we got 3 defenders roaming up top, Dokkaebi Call goes out as Loben clears down below, likely trying to, well, cut off the exact position that JV92 is creeping his way through. Worked his way into Freezer. Will fire some shots. Nobody from w7m bites. Instead, you can see so many players at cutoff positions. Doda's pushing in, goes down. But yeah, where the... What the hell? All the way down range, KZ92 decapitates Volps, and I keep hyping up these cutoff angles, but I think Furia are fighting to the death for Gym Bedroom.
They really want that ground. This could be a flawless round right now. JV takes Palu down. Dots and Loban. The Monty and Nadokabi, not what you want in the clutch. Dots has got himself into the site. I mean, this is just a mess, isn't it? This is just a desperate attempt to get in the round over. Loban can go for that Dokubi call. There's going to be a hive of activity in and around those main stairs. He's even taking damage through the soft bar as well. Even with that information, what's he going to be able to do? 55 seconds, 5 kills to find. I mean, Handy found 4, so it is certainly possible. But you've got to hope that Furia don't give themselves away in that sort of a fashion. Good for 1, maybe no, puts the damage in, but Felipox ducking and diving eventually will fall. But it's only ever going to be a matter of time there. It's Herds to clean him up. A very solid hold of that top floor. And honestly, that frost map placed on the doorway from construction into bedroom, really stopping the flow of the Monty. Not able to move through, having to de-shield. Then all of a sudden you get the pop and the murder hole poked through from Logi. w7m baited into that full clear when you wonder if they maybe have been better with just something a little bit more direct in a similar vein to what we saw Furia attempting on their attacks where, you know, if there's a big extension up top, there is option to go direct if the site's left a little bit light and you try and commit some players to catching defenders on those cutoffs and on those rotates back down.
And I do appreciate that when I was talking about, you know, when Furia win, it feels like there are rounds where it's just like everything's under control, and even when they're reacting to something, they just slap it down. Yep, that was one of those rounds. That was the exact kind of round I'm talking about. I'm trying to like set up a point, and then KZ just like literally hits the weirdest shot around the bed frame in bedroom that I've ever seen. I'm like, okay, well, whatever. 5v3. That's if you're going to play on these defenses. It might be a little bit of a w7m Skyscraper moment where they just start stringing those together, because I don't really know how you beat what we just saw. We'll see how w7m try to answer it, though. New shield. Likely different strategy as Dot switching out the Monty for a blitz. Always going to be difficult dealing with these shields. I have to say, we don't really see a blitz attacking CCTV and Cash. Normally it is that Monty walking up the garage stairs. So imagine Dots will likely try to push from the opposite side of the map. But then again, look at this. Mirror window on Jacuzzi wall. Banshee on Jacuzzi wall as well. Ready, I imagine, for anybody who might try to go for that full clear.
Furia aren't a stranger to committing utility on the other side of the map to really extend into and waste a good portion of time. They're doing exactly that right now. You've even got Banshee at the top of main as well, so you really don't want anybody pushing in too quickly through there. So there was a bit of information here, though. Nice hopping from Dots. Not easy to make that transition and not give yourself away. And look at the amount of info he's able to gain, but doesn't really do them too well. Can he salvage it? Certainly. Damn. For one. C4 goes long, but Palu is there. Nade. Brilliant rotation. Levels things out to a 2 versus 2, but look at the HP remaining on those two defenders.
Ooh, but look at that swing by JV92. Dots tried ADS in anticipation and ends up paying for it. A key moment where the fortunes shift in Furia's favor. Though still with that same prowess they showcased in round 7. Meeting w7m gunfight for gunfight, and now Palu, ever the generational late round player, will look towards Condor and see what swings he can find. Selma on the Kiba will force that Goyo off. Now Palu isolates the 1v1, head around the corner. There's the first. But on such low HP, the Vector's fast fire rate. Surely this is a moment where Nade can find his 9th. So long out of the action, yet finding huge moments today. He's been put down to half, and Palu knows where he's rotated. Waiting for it. Now he crosses. He's got the sight to himself. He'll try to bait off the Goyo, but Nade doesn't bite. Little hole opened up. Gotta be careful. Could work the Goyo's favor. Both players wait. Palu pulling back. Nade not committing just yet, but now the impact goes out. Misses, so Palu gets the defuse. Falls off. Knows he's out the door. Remembers this information. And so who's going to peek first? Who's going to blink? Will it be Palu, so patient, who fires the first shots? He's stuck. Can't really rotate into red. Can't really rotate around. So he holds his ground and cleans up the 1v2. This man was born in the late round, and he's not giving it up today.
That was one of the most technical 1 versus 2s I've seen in a long time. Some terrible positioning, by the way, from Furia. Catching themselves behind that Kiba barricade, having to rotate in, not able to play it as an on-contact crossfire, and Palu just able to isolate both of those 1 versus 1s. The Selma onto the Kiba for me was the icing on the cake. As soon as that play is made and you force the Goyo back, there was no chance for hesitation. He had to push and take that Azami down. As Nade retreats and gets himself a little bit safer, at that point you've got to feel like the Azami needs to do the same thing. Treat it like a layered defense. Come back another level. There was loads of time left, and Palu knew it. He's played that perfectly. And that's given a huge swing right now for w7m. Not just in terms of the round count, leveling it back up to 4-4, but the energy that will have brought into the room will be massive for them at this moment in time.
W7M tie it up. Gym bedroom now. Next target for an attacking victory. It's a nice play from Palu. We'll need a little bit more than that. Dots again playing shield roulette. Moves to the Monty. And hey, big shock once the focus is on garage. That's where the Monty comes into play. KZ, ooh. Making it back, but loses a lot of HP to the player sitting on top of the roof. That'll be important later. A zombie can always be difficult to deal with in these CCTV and cache extensions on gym or bedroom. But w7m still have a bit of work to do before they can effectively contest it. They've got to open plat wall, got to get some of this utility inside, and I mean, frankly, you don't exactly have a lot to deal with it. You kind of want to save some of those Capital bolts for the execute, some of those Bs as well. So some useful stuff, but you got to be careful you don't overspend that utility on this side.
Dots are just giving himself a couple of options here on Garage. Chewing through those Kiba barricades. Lion scan from Loban. Ooh, almost catching Herds out there. Leaves him on 1 HP. That's 2 players from Furia that have been softened up now in the opening portion of this round. Volps with the opener onto KZ. His army taken care of there, and a little bit more control now gained. Surely Philippox gets taken out as he rotates back. Does take a bit of damage, but will be able to make that transition despite the bees, despite the Lion scanner, and despite the Monty bearing down on him. Loban finds one before you get traded out by Herds. But w7m are all over this round. They have done a lot of the hard work, and they should just have to tap it in the back of the net with this Monty now.
And just taking it piece by piece, you see a little bit of focus on the bedroom window, a little bit of focus on construction. Now the next target, logistics. And Dot's not trying to get too cocky with it. Just angles himself to peek into that corner. Get that information. Volt's keeping a lid on things down below. Doesn't let Herds rotate into position for that C4. And while it's a nice trade by Philippox, he gets that Monty. It's still a 2v1, and still w7m close it out. Off the back of a big clutch from Palu, and what is it from w7m? Slower pace, careful attention, and not letting Furia get anything.
Palu's hungry for it today. You can see it, can't you? He's having one of his Palu days, where just about every decision that he makes, every corner that he turns, things are working out. Maybe a tactical timeout brought out here. Both teams still have it. We haven't seen it used yet. Maverick ban?
Ooh.
Okay. So we're going for the full... Going for full hard breaches, but leaving Ace open.
I'm curious
I'm
what the
surprised at the Maverick.
Yeah, they've run Ace every time.
Locate and defuse bomb.
They've not run a single bit of Maverick yet. And I don't think it's a stretch to think that w7m are going to, like... You know, I don't think it's, like, obvious that they're going to ban Bandit, but... I mean... Do they not think that w7m are going to ban the Bandit? Are they going to... I was about to say, are they going to run a lot of impacts and try to counter the Ace that way? Because that's what I thought was going to happen when Ace was the only hard breacher for Furia. So I guess maybe this is the strategy they're going for.
Attackers have located a bomb. 10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds left before insertion. Attackers are moving to defuse a bomb.
Are you alive?
I'm alive. I was letting it breathe. I feel like we're going to be... We're in for a couple of really tense rounds right now. If w7m pick this round, that's when we're going to start to see a very different Furia from what we've seen all day so far. Because they start running out of chances.
I just thought the Maverick ban shocked you so much to your core.
No, it did. I was looking things up and I was like, Maverick ban really? Like, I don't think it's going to have the desired level of impact. Like, remove the Monty or something, because the Monty's been working quite well. Dots has been putting it to pretty good use so far.
I mean, I think the biggest indicator is that w7m are quite literally running back the exact same lineup they ran last round. Same site, exact same lineup. And maybe these impacts will do the trick. You know, it's possible. But again, I just don't know if like counter-stratting the Ace is going to be the thing that does it for them. But hey, maybe it will be. Ooh, a little bit missing an opportunity there.
Usually w7m have been pretty good at taking those opportunities and at least chipping down some HP. But there's far less of an extension this time. Instead, the fortress that is being created right now by Herds is inside of that construction area. Seeing a lot of the ingredients popped as well now, including some of those Vulcan canisters. Dots may be framing for a little bit of a hop in, but it's going to be Vulps getting involved in that early part of the action. Lion Scan trying to pin these players down, removing those Kiba barricades. You can see Whammy Magnets catching pieces of utility as they're thrown through. Both teams. That util's getting chewed through at an alarming rate. And there are some pretty static players on the side of Furia right now. That 45-second mark could be a great opportunity for Dots to catch someone on a bit of a rotate right now.
Ooh. Here we go. Dots hops in. Loban on the cover. Can they get this diffuser plant down successfully? Oh, Dots does it. Oh, just at the last second. But suddenly, 5v2 for Furia. And how are w7m going to close this one out? JV92 on the defuse, forced to fall off as w7m get one kill, but only one. And there are just too many bodies to deal with. Furia throw everything at that problem. And counter defuse successful. Was the impact trick against the Ace the reason it all won? Maybe. We don't know. But I can tell you the thing that made it sufficient was how quickly Furia understood the situation.
They weren't wasting any time there. Straight on to disable that diffuser. It's funny, because if this timeout had been taken around earlier, you'd have said it was a Furia timeout. But with how flip-floppy this game has been, it's w7m now to take their tactical timeout. Furia still with their own in their pocket. There'll be plenty of time for these two teams to discuss how they want to work moving forward. Volps seems to be the key receiver of information there. I don't think there's too much really that w7m need to change. They don't need to reinvent the wheel here. There's just small things that need tightening up a little bit. And if they'd have picked up an opening kill before having to commit to the plant there, because the time was kind of pushing them toward that, getting that plant down and extending that clock, if they'd been able to grab a kill beforehand, could have been a very different round indeed. Downstairs we go. Attacking into Church and Arsenal. I mean, we've seen some lineups today, Lynx, but I know it's time for it to be changed, but this is the kind of lineup that excites me.
It stinks all the way from my apartment.
To the core.
Absolute.
It's just rotten.
I was about to say, an absolutely fetid, rotten lineup. Much better.
10 seconds remaining.
Much better. Much improvement.
No,
Striker.
it was looking so good.
5 seconds left before insertion.
Okay, we still got the Ying.
Moving out to locate a bomb.
Smelled like moldy cheese. Now smells like nothing. No sauce in this lineup. Nah, I'm just
Smells
kidding.
like the sea
Yeah,
breeze.
Yeah, exactly. Ying and a Grim, not a bad combo. And hey, Striker, I've come to really enjoy watching Striker, not for literally anything to do with like who he is as an well, except the M4, because I think the M4 sounds cool. But it always just feels like I've watched a lot of great plays with Striker. I think because and this is something Leo talked about. FaZe will often just like put whoever's having like the best time on Striker, or we'll put like, okay, my bad.
Is Logan having the best time?
Lovin's having a bad time.
I think he's having the worst time right now.
Lovin's having a bad time. Oh no! Oh, match point.
That's
Match
Logan's
point.
third opening death. The thing is, when Furia play like this, it just looks so good. Two
It's so
opening
easy
kills
too.
inside of the first minute. Azami to cover everyone back to site. Nice and easy. And then they can just sit in sight and essentially wait now for the next 40 seconds because w7m, they're going to be allowed to do whatever they want in that mid floor. And Fury have just got to tuck up. They've got enough eyes and enough guns to point in the right directions. Attacking this site when you're at a man disadvantage is a nightmare.
It's like genuinely, I want all of us for this next minute and a half to do like a thought exercise. Genuinely, what could Furia do here? Or sorry, what could w7m do here to win this round entirely within their own control? Genuinely. Want to throw those candelas? There's a Warden. There's plenty of Kibas they can sit behind and maybe be able to dodge it. Oh, they've got the 5Bs. They've got mute jammers. Oh, look at the time. They've got Vulcan packs to stall that. They've got 2 C4s. They got 3 impacts if things really get dire. That's the tricky thing here. w7m just do not have an answer for the sheer quantity of utility Furia can throw at them. They can try, and you know w7m will try and it will be good, but this is just one of those things where unless Furia start trolling, they are not losing this round. And so Volps will rush in through the fire, through the flames. Doesn't even get one. Dots is just going to drop the hatches to end this and see if we've got a chance in overtime, because Furia are taking that point on Clubhouse. They're giving one for free to Dots, just as a consolation prize. Dots getting participation trophies in round 11, because this is either ending in 12 or we need overtime to see if w7m can close this out.
Not a good sign after a tactical timeout for a round to sort of go that badly. 2 really early opening picks going unresponded. And Furia just allowed to kind of do whatever they want. Still potential for an OT. And I would not put it past w7m or Furia for us to get there.
Protect your bombs from being defused by attackers.
The opening pick has been a pretty damning statistic to look at. 7 of these rounds have gone the way of Furia, with only 4 going the way of w7m. It's not always been an indicator of who's won the round. w7m have lost or failed to convert a round that they got the opening pick on way back in round 2. And in rounds 3 and 4, Furia again unable to convert a round that they themselves were successful in getting that opening pick on. But other than that, it has been a very clear indicator between these two teams as to how it is going to play out. Be a fairly tricky lineup to go up against here, but I like what w7m are doing here, bringing that Monty. They've got the God Squad. They've got that combination of the Monty and the Capitao, and even the Ying to assist in taking control of Garage. No ADSs. Instead, it's going to be the magnets from Wami and JV92 to place them. Philippok's playing on that Azami, so he will likely have something to say over in toward that catwalk as well. But w7m, at the moment at least, are going to start off with opening up this construction side. Never a bad idea to get that open as a second option. We already saw what Palu was capable of doing through that very avenue only a couple of rounds ago.
Just gives you a little bit of a cut-off angle in case anybody's rotating around gym or bedroom.
A bomb has been located.
Because they should, in theory, be, you know, the standard garage clear, you know, with the Capital, with the Montaigne, but right now, w7m getting full control of the opposite side of the second floor. Ooh. Volps moving about down below, loses his life to KZ through vertical angles, maybe? Not entirely sure. You can see he's quite pleased with himself about that. No, it was from the garage steps that he found the Capital. Ooh, the mirror window on this, too. I was going to say, the tricky thing people always got to be worried about here, C4 over the top of Conwall, because if that goes down and you're not looking, that's a one-way ticket out of round 12.
A mirror window is going to make opening that a little bit more difficult. Mirror window popped. Mirror window popped here as well. JV taking a little bit of damage. w7m still not with a good, solid inroad right now. Can throw that secondary EMP. JV gets caught on the swing. It's a little bit unnecessary there, and he's unlikely to be recovered, but the impact that he sent out did stop the breach from getting open, and that could be all that Furia need right now.
Could be all. The Candelas go in, though, but the Kiva barrier separates the Monty. Dots on shields. Always got to be worried, because he just seems to find this way through. But KZ keeps things quiet, keeps things calm, and shuts down what could have been a massive play for w7m. So now Loban's got to get active. Got to creep in with that Reaper. We've seen quite a few players make magic with. He's got the LMG as well, but not a lot for this close quarters. Dots again, or Dodez, excuse me, trying to find something pushing deeper. As Loban faces a lot of damage. KZ around below, goes for the swing, lands the pre-fire. It doesn't work! He's trapped in the cross, and they're out of the map! 7-5, Furia take Clubhouse, and we've got Border for the first time in the SAL to decide who's the best of them all.
Being a map that suits them down to the ground just because of the playstyle that they're able to bring. Their playstyle has changed over the years, though, and they don't necessarily play the same risk-takey and just solely relying on that gun skill. They've certainly refined it down to what feels like a fine art at this point, and it's going to be exciting to watch it because, as we've mentioned multiple times now, it hasn't been played yet at this stage of SAL.
Yeah, in fact, it was, technically speaking, picked for the first time, I think, like, yesterday. It was the decider in a series that we didn't even get 3 maps. So it's like, it's not even like, okay, but, you know, it's been up, like, I don't know, every best of 3 so far, but it's just not gone because it's just been a decider. Like, no, it wasn't even up until, like, the second to last day of playoffs. This has been a map that teams have just been avoiding like the plague inside of SAL. So not only is this the first time it's being played, it's only the second time it's even been an option. Which means that hopefully these teams were just saving it up to the last second. Already, Ollie, we got to talk about what the hell these attack bans are from Furia. Because we've got a Brava and a Twitch ban out the gate. What are we doing here?
They clearly want their utility and they want it safe, don't they? And it's one of those things where, is it a bit of a, we don't really care what you play? Like, well, you can have the shields if you want them. You can have the Ying, you can have the Glaz. Really looking to keep control of what pieces of utility they're bringing in. I mean, you look at the lineup and you think, okay, a Brava. What are we hacking with the Brava out of this? Mute Jammer? Aruni Gate? Twitch? A little bit more value. Got the Mute Jammers, you can get rid of the Goo Mines if you want. Obviously, it isn't specifically for this round and this round only. We'll see how it develops. At w7m, there's no real surprise with their bans. They have gotten rid of those architects and they've gotten rid of them quickly. A castle and an Azami. You don't really want either of those up and available when you're attacking here on Border. Both can shape the map in a very big way. Speaking of shaping the map, Herds has got a lot of options and quite a lot of flexibility at the moment inside of CCTV. We'll have Loban below as well on the sledge. Kind of a unusual pause for the Sledge to find themselves in.
Remember when I mentioned that sometimes defenders in power positions fighting break door can be a big problem? Want to take a guess?
I've heard you mention it.
Want to take a guess where Herds just sniped Volps from?
Break door, perhaps?
Yeah. Playing inside the little CCTV cubby. Long angle with that DMR. Out the break door. Bye-bye, Volps. Bye-bye, 5. Canisters and that Hive launcher. Hopefully we'll see a next round. But so far, the defensive power positions, oh boy, are they going Furia's way. Herds and KZ, the dynamic duo, with the first 2 kills for the defense. Looking to even go for a bit more on the East Air side for the moment, but he'll think better of it. Him and Herds consolidate their control of break room and CCTV. Meanwhile, the rest of the 3 defenders keep their domain on the site. It'll be difficult for w7m to find their way back in. I just noticed that Palu's still using his Rotera drones in this situation, and you know what? I appreciate that.
Get him used. How difficult this round has started. It's not going to get any easier the further that w7m get into it. That clash of Philippox is looming. Those final 20 or 30 seconds, as that is not something you want to be going up against. That's bad to worse. Loban's getting caught from goo mines as he hops outside. The diffuser has been juggled multiple times now as well. Eventually will commit to the hopping. But w7m haven't got anything to deal with this clash. Ooh, great little walking though from Palu. Gets unlucky there as to not catch Philippox as he was looking the other way. But w7m need more than just a stab into sight and a quick 1 kill. 15 seconds. They've still got a mountain to climb.
I've still got that clash to break through. Still got the 3 defenders all on reserve inside of Armory. You can see how difficult this position is. Dodez will find another, but Loban all the way deep on that cross, I was going to say, should be easy for one Furia player to swing and take him down. It's exactly what happens. Furia hold on, and we can commend w7m for the fight that they had, but even with every kill they got, Furia were still in control from 5 to 2 players remaining.
And you might be thinking, oh, that round, you know, it looked a little bit close there, you know. The time and everything else is just compounding. And Furia know when they're able to make those plays based on the clock, based on where that diffuser is, based on if that clock's going to get extended, if it's going down, and it was not. w7m looking really one-dimensional on that attack, but they did lose 2 opening picks. So it's fair to expect something a little bit more one-dimensional when you're struggling for guns to point in different directions. Furia come away with round 1 and are going to take us downstairs into Workshop. No clash this time. And this is one of the sites where you would expect them to find a little bit more difficulty, given that the Azami and the castle have been removed. It's not going to be as easy to fortify that top floor. Of course, the idea behind that is that you would play less bodies up there, but have a little bit more protection, a little bit more security. Those 2 banned, do you commit more bodies up there? Because you're not going to... There's nothing really that can replace that level of protection and security. Well, Furia at least look like they are spreading themselves, even extending as far into a security room. We've also got Philippox on these east stairs, so they have gone, yep, we are just going to play just about every corner of this map. And it speaks to what Fresh was speaking about with those sort of long cross and on-contact plays that you have on this top floor. Dodez, he's got a bit of info here. Volbs is ready to assist, but it's JV with the opener. Oh, a brilliant swing, so opportunistic. And again, it doesn't rain, it pours. 2 kills for Furia in 2 consecutive rounds on openings.
Using those soft walls to great advantage. You got the sentry sitting right on it, and JV92 again swings out. It's like I'm watching w7m on Skyscraper right now. The communication and these double swings are so lethal from Furia. Now Palu and Dots in a position where I don't think you really have any solution to speak of. Dots walks into the goo mine, gives the information, but that ace is over on radio window. Nade finishes it off. Nice frag by Palu. He's got 3, and not a single one have mattered. 2 in a row for Furia. We were hyping up their command and control of border, and they are not disappointing.
It feels as if it's almost mental as well, because this isn't the w7m that we've watched play Skyscraper and Clubhouse. We've not seen rounds this decisive back-to-back in this series won by either team so far. They're not even allowed in the building at the moment. Early tactical timeout. It's looming. It'll very likely be at the end of this round as we get our second round of bans. I expect to see that w7m timeout come out. Furia are really leveraging the bans that we sort of questioned a little bit at the start of the game. If you're going to ban a Brava and a Twitch, you better be playing a lot of annoying stuff. And they are certainly playing a lot of fiddly and annoying gadgets to find. I mean, when are you going to be given the space or time to find Denari's trip on border or a Grismot mine? Let alone a Vulcan canister. You know, I mean, that's the more obvious one, isn't it? But there is some really itty-bitty bits of utility here that it'd be super nice to have a few more drones to take care of. And I think that's what's forcing out this Flores pick.
These are the kind of operator lines you got to go to confession for. Just like,
forgive me because I have sinned.
Just trip mines, F knots, Vulcan canisters, Grismot mans. Alright, man, we get it. Like, we get the idea. Fellapok's in the exact same spot as last round. We cut to him in that spot at the exact same time. I love it. See what
Might have to start calling him NJR.
That's literally where NJR plays. Dots is trying to navigate this trip mine barbed wire situation. It's backed up with the full force and credit of Herds' MP5K. Pretty ardent setup of this side of the map, and one I think w7m, I was going to say, probably should start rethinking whether or not they even want to try and push this. You get somebody down below if you can, but you can still see Fellapok's weary of it. w7m backing off, deciding to rethink this approach.
I think the positive at the moment is that everyone's alive from w7m. And I don't mean that in like a mean sort of nasty way, but they haven't committed early to that opening kill. And that's going to stand them in a better stead, especially if they're going to start rushing in like that. But no, we can't hop through the breach. And from the hatch, Hertz picks 2. Again, 2 opening picks. 3 rounds in a row, we're seeing w7m have to fight 3 versus 5. And this time they've got even less on the clock to do it with.
Now this recovery is going to be difficult. Volps, just pops around the corner. Good trade for w7m. But Furia, in these advantages, are a match made in heaven on border at the moment. And now it's, for Furia, it's just a matter of conversion, a matter of not giving up this advantage, not letting w7m find a way back in. And to put it, to sum it up, just not trolling. The name of the game for how these rounds have been going. That's been the bigger question. Not whether Furia can put themselves in a winning position. Paulo getting hit by the trip. Him and Loban clearing out a top floor roam that has long since left and returned home. Selma's opening the vert is always one of those fun examples for how an attacking round has really gone awry.
It's one of my favorite markers of a round that is just in the bin. Although, 15 seconds. Candelas. Paolo has spent his last one. Ooh, drops into a Vulcan pack. That isn't going to be too nice for Loban, who's basically 1 HP. Has to try and stick this plant now. Has got no option in terms of coming off. But I don't think anyone's got a way through. This is going to be a pretty hefty retake from Furia. But no, KZ just lays prone and lines them up. There was a glimmer of hope there for w7m, but it was snubbed straight out by Furia yet again.
just proning ever so slightly around the corner. Love that.
Tech.
The next generation Hashom peak. You thought proning itself was crazy? We're hitting snake slither peaks in 2025, and you're not going to know what's hit you. We've already had some nice bans from Furia. I'm excited to see what they break out here. Also excited for what this W7M tactical timeout will have in store after these bans come through. What'll it be? And the Flores? These might be the most jobless bans I've ever seen.
I mean, the Flores is a ban. You know, like, this is just a serious, we are going to play things and you're not going to be able to delete them. The key timeout here for W7M. First time that either team has trailed by 3 in the series. This isn't just to tighten a few things up. This is stop the bleeding. This is get the tourniquet out and strap that thing onto your leg and squeeze, because W7M are falling rapidly out of what up until this point has been an extremely competitive best of 3. But since getting onto border, the wind has dropped out of their sails. And Furia look at home. This is the most comfortable that we've seen them so far tonight, Lynx.
Oh, it doesn't even look like they're breaking a sweat. It doesn't even look like they're awake really all that much. It feels kind of like Furia moving by rote memorization. Even though they haven't played border this stage, they know how this goes. They're Furia. When they're comfortable, they win 80% of the gunfights they take. Doesn't matter if you're standing or prone. It works out, probably. Decent shot it does. Furia are
And the
not
fact that KZ and JV are 10 and 3 between them is
yeah, you know, that helps. That helps.
This time.
Bit minor of a stat, but you know, add in Herds, that's 13. And they're what, 13 and 4 between the 3 of them? That's something at least. I mean, hey, Herds got 2 of his kills last round. Stop that whole rush. And then what, JV92 gets his 3K in vents. That's round 2. One of those situations where we look back to Skyscraper, if the individuals aren't heating up, we're like, what the hell's going on? Now we're at border. And the Hydra's here. KZ, JV92, and Herds all putting up pretty solid performances through these first 3 rounds, and the onus is on W7M to see how they bounce back after that timeout. And just unfortunately for them, I just don't think that Elaband's going to do the work they hope it will.
No, I think you're kind of clutching at straws trying to make a ban work when W7M, when Furia are just sort of playing anything they want.
Exactly.
The Ela might do something, because at least you're going to be able to walk through, and it maybe gives Dots a slightly easier time of things on the shield. He's not going to have the shield blasted to one side. But then what do you do? Well, you just play the Clash. Like, it's a nightmare. You face up against a Clash as a Monty, as we're seeing right now on the top of East Stairs, and it ain't a fun time. Philippox will choose, though, to back off. Not feeling like he's quite got the safety that he requires, or maybe just knowing and understanding, hey, I don't need to play there for too long. We've done a minute, and all I've done is stood at the top of East Stairs. We can at least give them that for the time being and get ourselves back over into Fountain, and that safety of the hard tiled floor, so at least he can't be targeted from below by Deimos.
Ooh. I know that KZ slipped the net. Inside a break room at the moment. For all the strengths W7M have shown this series, and they have shown quite a few, it has felt that Furia so far playing the long game have felt a bit more comfortable, as we said earlier. And this take is good. It sounds so far, don't get me wrong. Monty pushes in. You've got the initial East Stairs control, then you start pressuring Fountain, you keep a little Hertz and CCTV, all of that's fine. But we have these next questions. Can they also keep track of KZ and Break? Do they even know he's there? Can this utility land on the players inside of sight? That's something we need to see. Yoda's finally winning that fight over on the east side. And a 5v4 is great, but the bulk of this site control is still there. The Clash can retake the position, gain some of that info. W7M looking to rotate again. Don't have the hop in, unfortunately. Selma will need to be dedicated to open that up. No explosives to destroy it. But now KZ's getting activated. He's walked up. Nate also finding the Monty. Drops Diffuser outside of Breach. Some good work by this Deimos down below, and W7M maintain their advantage. Compound it with Palu. And that's the recovery we needed to see after the timeout. Takes a while to get going, but Philippox in the 1v3. Can he find these angles? No, he cannot. W7M play it slow and steady and cross the finish line with excellent form.
Feels like when W7M have really needed something here tonight, the name that you're seeing on your screen is Palu. Consistently performing when they need him to the most. That was a massive round for W7M to get. Still chance of a 3-3 split. The timeout good for something. It was nearly all undone, by the way, by a single goo mine placed on the window as the Monty hops in, gets caught in the goo, and with the wall open in front of them, there's nothing that they can do. They have to just try and tuck and take it out and hope that the player doesn't aggress inside of office. But, I mean, guess what? You're playing against Furia. Of course they're going to aggress against you if they think you're cowering in the corner, taking out a goo mine. Still coming down to red time. Still, Philippox, he wins those occasionally. All he's got to do is land a couple of lucky shots onto the person planting the diffuser. But W7M finally get one over the line, and that's going to feel pretty good for them at this point. They've seen this rotation once. They're going to be playing it again downstairs into workshop.
5 seconds to go.
This is where we again saw that massive extension from Furia. I say massive, Border isn't a massive map. There is a requirement to play pretty much every corner of it when you're on the defense. W7M, they're not going to leave any stone unturned trying to find the answer here. The Cali is brought out in round number 5. And for the way that Palu's been playing today, I'm sure I'd be more comfortable with him with an AR in his hands than that sniper, although the machine pistol can put in a lot of work.
I'm always leery of the Cali pick, just because like I feel like it's one of those things that sounds great in theory, but is always a bit harder to make work in practice. In particular, like what you talked about, I kind of just want Palu with a gun in his hands. But as you said, has the Reaper now. Well, SMG 12 as well before, I guess. But either way, I think sometimes the sniper sounds better in theory than it actually works out in practice. But hey, great time to make something happen with it. See what long angles Palu can find. As we're getting some more focus of Philippox on the east air side, this has been his position throughout pretty much every single site in which they brought a Denari. That is, every single site except Armory and Archives. The flashes go in, he'll fall back a little bit. KZ can still contest the position, but a lot of pressure being borne down upon these players. We got flashbangs, Monty, active and passive pressure being applied. I think, unfortunately, unfortunately, maybe they need to find a way to pull back, but Herds! This break room side has been rife with holes in W7M's setup. It's exact play-by-play from round 4. Opening pick from break, nade with a follow-up, 4v3 for Furia.
Make it 4 versus 2. Herds finds one onto Dodez. Palu with the sniper will take JV92 out. That was always going to be a little bit of an ask, though, for the close range engagement onto Herds. Volps left on a little bit of an island there. Very quickly found himself in the Viper's nest with no support from anywhere. It's a little bit of a shame because I kind of liked that approach from W7M. Getting that opening pick, doing a really good job of baiting out from both sides of East Stairs, but it just goes to show that that utility, those trip mines, stopping the Monty from walking in, forcing people to rotate over and send EMPs out there to try and allow some sort of safe passage through that door, just slows the roll of everything down, and it gives Furia plenty of time to reposition and to react to what is happening. 4-1 right now for Furia. There was a glimmer of hope inside of round 4 for W7M. But again, it feels like it was only a spark and not enough to really get themselves going.
Unfortunately, these shields have just not been the recipe that W7M thought it might be. Worked in round 4, took a long time, but it did work. But since then, the Blitz, the Monty, nothing has gone their way. And in the last round, interestingly enough, we do have the shield introduction, but Ali, it's Volps bringing the Blitz. To be fair,
and he's 1 and 4.
True, but Dots is also 0 and 5. I don't think the kills are the reason. What is the reason? Honestly, I'm not quite sure. Maybe it's Dots isn't feeling it. Maybe Volps wants to try something different. Not sure. But Dots is the shield player on this roster. This is not like Wildcard, for example, where it just kind of shifts hands sometimes. very interested to see what the change-up here will be, but I mean, to be fair, we see a broader change-up, which is, well, a comically annoying operator lineup, but Lobin going for the lurk. There's a guy right around the corner. Oh my goodness, again, 3 rounds in a row. Furia have found a lurk on one side of the map, got a kill off the back of it, but here the execute comes through. You can drop one body across the map as long as you find this one. The C4s, the explosives go out, but Dot's forced off. Oh, the blitz spotted through the shield too! Oh, and on the back, he gives them away. Furia again cascading towards a victory as w7m make the call, ignore Lobin's loss. And once again, it's Palu in the late round with it all to do. The diffuser taunting him in his sight, but out of his grasp. These two Candelas would have to do a whole lot of work to get a 4-2 half for w7m, excuse me. It's a 5-1 for Furia as we are looking like the SAL champions might be crowned momentarily.
Furia are so on it tonight on border. The little rat positions, they've got some good player tendency down. They know that people are going to be walking in through passport, thinking it's clear without checking it, saving that drone for later on. I mean, it's sloppy from w7m, but it's opportunistic from Furia. Then just saying, you know what, we've got to push the site. We have to try and send it and make it happen. That doesn't work against either of these two teams. You can't do it against Furia, and when Furia have tried to do it against w7m, it also hasn't worked. Now, with the way that the momentum has shifted so drastically here on border, and how much of an upper hand Furia have, would it work this time? There's potential.
Attackers need to locate and defuse as many bombs as they
That is an attacking phase to forget for w7m right now. And they need to be pretty much perfect here on these defenses. And as Army and a smoke removed, Deimos and a Ying the response. I feel like the banning game from Furia was exceptional in that first half. With what they ended up leveraging and what they ended up playing, it really worked out quite well for them. Heck of a lot of mute, heck of a lot of Legion, Warden, and of course those trips just funneling w7m into the avenues that they wanted to be in.
Attackers' objective is to locate a bomb and defuse it.
Certainly got a lot of work to do in terms of replicating that success here now as the sides switch at round 7.
And we see w7m pay a little bit of focus. I mean, Ying is whatever, but the Deimos ban, that's a direct target against KZ. You do not want that guy going down below, say tracking Dodez in this position, who is on a Rooney, the exact same operator Herds was playing in that spot towards the beginning of the last half, a position that Dodez, I even mentioned, plays basically every time w7m play border, and Dodez plays it so well. Could be a great player to set up, invest in, and if Dodez starts heating up, it's going to cause Furia a lot of problems holding power positions like that. By the same token, we'll have to see how Furia counter it. Not bringing the buck, by the way. Interesting. Not trying to bring the skeleton keys to go below and pressure Dodez or get that same verticality. So that looks like a lot more of a horizontal take and a lot more electronic focus take with the IQ and the clutch drones.
I think they understand what their win condition was and they don't want to fall foul to it. And w7m play in a similar game. Herds. It's going to be just poking through, seeing if there's any lines of sight that are left open for him. Ooh, gets a little bit lucky there, but in true Herds fashion, is just going to immediately push the point. Although the player will drop down through that hatch. It should be a relatively straightforward catch. Doesn't even need the assistance of the team. Felt like players from Furia just sort of stood around watching him work there. Another double opening pick. We need to start calculating that and get a stat line for it because it has been relentless in this series. Nade onto Volps. Volps still struggling. 1 and 6. Looks like it could be a flawless here for the first of Furia's attacks, and it will be. KZ to clean the final 2 up there outside of Armory Wall. They are putting themselves in a very nice position here.
2 flawless rounds in a row, 1 per side. Furia now just 1 round away from becoming 2-time SAL champions. And it's hard really even to point out necessarily like what went wrong in that round or what went well in that round. Well, at least for the first one, I can tell you one thing. Furia doing what they do best, and it seems just finding these nice little gaps. Because you see KZ hop in the radio window, try to take the fight on the guy around the corner, but he drops down the hatch. Hey, these things happen. But as a result of that, and also nobody playing Fountain, KZ's able to walk all the way through office and help pinch the guy on 90. It's just one of those situations that has, honestly, it's kind of trite to talk about it, because it's been something Furia have been good at since before they even won a major. Back in like 2022 when they were w7m, when they hadn't even won anything yet, but were this really interesting and good Brazilian team that might take things over. They had this uncanny knack for reading situations, whether they caused it or they didn't. They knew how to read it and knew how to best exploit it. It faltered and went away in 2024, and it seems to have come back in 2025, and it's how they won that round.
The work rate is impressive. And constantly seeing that evolution of the roster.
Reloading.
It's been brilliant to watch. It's been a privilege to talk over. W7M now, they're back firmly up against the wall. No more timeouts. No more moments to breathe. Just 2 minutes and 15 seconds to hold on and then do it all again. Dodes seeing if there was anything they could make happen. Furia are wise to it and got themselves safe and all kind of tucked. KZ this time will be on that skeleton key. To try and make something happen from below. Doesn't want to give the game away and go through the beeper too early though. Instead just going to get a nice line on that rotate. And this is an opening pick waiting to happen here on the vert. KZ doesn't get it himself. He's going to push a player into an open arm of a fellow attacker. Yoda starting to feel this pressure. Could think about a bit of a drop here and we'll go for it. Oh, gets a glimpse and I don't think that KZ saw him.
No, with the sound of that skeleton key, KZ's locked in. He's wired into the moment, yet he just can't really find the angle. Finally, Dodes catches it. Gives up that power position inside his CCTV, but to great effect. I don't think Metal is in the hands of Furia whatsoever, so Dodes should be full clear to retreat and fall back. Ooh, Dot swings around the corner, but un-ADS'd. Again, this printer window has been a problem for W7M twice in a row. Yeah, there's a lot more good things coming off the back of that. At least W7M get the initial advantage. At least Dodes gets to fall back. And frankly, Dots has been a bit of a non-factor. Taking on KZ in exchange, that's fine.
Herds is now going to open up that wall. I'm really not sure about that. It's going to just open up that line of sight. And he needs to be careful as to when those X-Kairos pellets get activated. He will go for it now. Hop himself outside. 35 seconds. They don't really have the fortune of time. Palu narrowly gets away, but will be downed eventually. A brilliant bang there through the wall. Palu with the C4 was looking to go below and to try and play denial. But he's now out of the picture. Not likely going to be recovered. Even could be finished off by that Flores drone.
We'll try to find it, but Palu picked back up in the process, and so this play not nearly as secure. Dodes finding another. Make that 3. Nice shot. A long angle held by Nade, but I just don't think this diffuser's getting planted. Clash around the corner. Bellapox will try to cover. Falls off the diffuse plant. It's only a nice shot, but W7M hold on. 5 rounds to go, and there's 20% right there.
Well, they've done it once. Now they've just got to do it again. Felt incredibly tense there. Dodes making that play and dropping down from security upstairs into customs and getting some brilliant, for him, siege timing onto KZ below was the secret sauce in that round. That and being able to get back upstairs in one piece. Not an easy attack to make happen when you go down a man early like that, and with W7M going fairly one-dimensional through that office side after losing that second dimension of the vert. It was never going to be easy, but it certainly came down to the wire, and I think that's how these rounds are going to go if W7M are going to stay in it. I don't think it's going to be by a massive margin. They're going to have to scrap and claw at everything here. Downstairs. Into showers and tellers. Are they able to hold on yet again here? Another horrid lineup. The Grismots, the Nari Trips, Vulcan Packs, Loban for the hero play if he needs to deny the plant in the late round. This lineup has got it all. Something that's maybe not got is any sort of way of further fortifying that upstairs, the castle. Even though available, is banned out when Furia are on the defense. It's been available here for w7m, but they haven't chosen to use it. Instead, opting for more of that trap setup. Oh, look at Loban's position, though. I'm just so scared that w7m are just going to start sending it out of windows and trying to, you know, really hard to get opening picks.
Just like, it's one of those things where, as an instinct, it might be fine. It's just with so much on the line, it makes you worry, you know? Because if it goes wrong even once, it's just so much more punishing than if it's just like, you know, 0-0, start of the game. It's not even necessarily that the plays themselves are worse. It's just the consequences of their failure, or potential failure, could be so much graver. Here's what I'm talking about, gap spotting, by the way. This is prime Furia behavior right there. Herd's working his way in direct line of sight on the 90 rotate. There's no way they know about it. Well, they will now. Once that 5.52 ammo has gone through, unfortunately, nade bounced around the corner. Ooh, great reaction by w7m, whereas KZ finds one. It's a huge reaction by w7m. Back to that playbook, back to that pattern on Clubhouse and Skyscraper. One pick for Furia, and then an onslaught from w7m. If there were ever a time for it to rear its head again, it would be here when w7m need 4 more in a row. Free play C4. Palu's worked his way down to the bottom floor. Call his boom whenever he sees or whenever they see JV92 walk on top of it. Recover the diffuser, though. But Ollie, does he have a chance?
It's not going to be the easiest clutch, is it? He's still deleting default cameras. And the Selma was just to cover a little bit of sound there. Got a couple of breaching charges, so could try and make something happen, but you can see with the way that he's checking, he doesn't know where anybody is at the moment. Yeah, we've got Loban low. Yeah, Parley's a little bit low, but this shotgun at close range is likely going to do it as Parley swings out there just inside of customs. Cool as you like. w7m starts to chain a few together. I think if they get another round here, Lynx, that's when the belief really starts to kick in. There's still a hell of a long way for them to go.
Yeah, right now is very much a situation where they have my interest, but not necessarily my attention yet. I like what I see. I really like what I saw in round 9 just now. I like that trend coming back. Everyone playing so close together that when Furia flood in, they have no choice but to take a fight with everybody at once. And w7m, again, showcasing this capability to win every single one given. And whether or not that happens again, if they can do it another time, I agree. I'll be ready and locked in for the w7m comeback, but it's all on round 10. Not just to keep them alive, of course. If Furia win this one, it's over. But this is where it truly becomes real, and the threat becomes palpable, and Furia will likely take a tactical timeout afterwards to blunt that momentum. But only if that happens. We'll have to look to ventilation and workshop to see how they can make it happen. Solus being brought by Loban, again trying to get a little bit of a lurk and a roam like he had last time. This will likely be a pretty straightforward vert hold. And outside of the jail side, Ollie, I don't really think there are that many spots you can lurk effectively on border. Just such a tight map.
Yeah.
10 seconds left.
No, it is. It's compact.
Before insertion.
There's so much outside to win. Every site you can just hop in. No consequence. That's one of the things that, or one of the reasons why it can be such a... It's just such a different map to anything else that we've got and anything that we experience. And that's why it's quite polarizing in people's views on it. Some people like it, some people don't. I don't know how you can watch a game of Siege like this and say that it isn't a good map, though, because you still feel like there's a good opportunity for w7m. It's gentle at the moment, and you almost don't want to breathe on it because it's so fragile that it could just break, shatter into a million pieces. But there is a small chance right now, and they know it themselves. All they've got to do is hold on here. They've got a good solid hold of that top floor going. And Furia are left to try and crutch onto this shield once again to give themselves a little bit of access. Some early information potentially there, as Nade is going to be able to hop himself in. Got a couple of players upstairs. Hatch is open, so it should be fairly straightforward to rotate down if required. But it's border. You're never rotating down without a fight. You can see those bullets just flying on through Palu. Not even able to drop the hatch if he wants here. He doesn't want to get caught out there by herds on these that vent window. As Nade just slinks his way downstairs. Furia not wanting to overcommit to anything just yet.
There's no need to. Definitely need to give W7M their respect. They've earned that. They've proved that through 3 maps. Especially if you just want to flood into those defenses. They can repel that. If anything, they can. So Fury will play things a little slower. Plant that Selma on the wall. Dot's even swinging around, taking off that Selma. It is a very elegant but slow back and forth between these two teams at the moment, and it's taken 2 minutes with not a single bit of damage dealt either way. Full rotation over to Armory side. Just keep in mind, this is a ventilation defense. This roam, it's nothing that's going to get you the victory.
Well, if you get the players back to site and they get tucked in, it might do. They've at least been able to hold on for this long. Dots tries to drop the hatch, but didn't want to take his eyes off anything. Herds is there to collect that information that can be fed through from Nade. Crucial, but now the kills start to come.
When they needed to the most. It's just Loban and Palu make that just Loban with 15 seconds left. There's one, but not the diffuser. Nade will have to go plant down, and that's only Fellapox for the cover. He's got the Specchio from up top. Can he find it? Just look below. Loban, look below you. He looks at the wrong time. So scattered, so nervous, he forgets to check below his feet. And that brief moment where the entire series hung in the balance might have just escaped W7M's grasp. And there it goes. 2 in a row, back to back. Furia are the champions of not just Stage 2, but the South America League so far.